President Carlo, do the honors, please.
Good evening, fellow Rotarians and guests. By the power vested upon me by the Rotary Club of Cebu West, I hereby call this joint general membership meeting to order.
Good evening, fellow Rotarians and guests. By the power vested upon me by the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente, I hereby call this general membership meeting to order. Our host for tonight is the Club Administration Director of the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente, Stephen Uy.
Thank you, President Burns and Press Carlo. So the Rotary theme for March is water and sanitation. Small changes can have a big impact if we are able to focus on life-changing improvements. Surely today's topic, Roadmap for a Better Cebu, is timely with the joint meeting of Rotary Club of Cebu West and Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente. There's really a lot we can learn, develop, and improve as we create a future of a better Cebu. So to lead us to the invocation, prayers, and national anthem will be the AVP. We'll have an AVP.
Receive, O Lord, my liberty. Take all my will, my mind, and memory. All things I hold, and all I own are thine. Thine was the gift to thee. My all resign, do thou direct, and govern all and sway. Do what thou wilt command, and I obey. Only thy grace, thy love on me bestow. These make me rich, all else will I forego. Do thou direct, and govern all and sway. Do what thou wilt command, and I obey. Only thy grace, thy love on me bestow. These make me rich, all else will I forgo.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, telas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong bagaw, ay hinagang tulakaw, Rotary flag as the flag of peace unfurled. I shall serve my community, help achieve universal unity. I shall dedicate my all. World understanding shall be my cherished goal. With a four-way test, I'll pursue my quest. If in my little way help attain peace in the world, I shall not have lived in vain. Above self, lend a hand to all who need my help. I'll get my spouse to involve in Rotary, and in Rotary ways I will train my family. With a four-way test, we'll pursue our quest, if in our little way help attain peace in the world. We shall not have lived in build a bridge for tomorrow's youth, strengthened by nothing but the truth. Let's join our hands, there's no reason we'll divide. We shall all understand why the good Lord is our guide. With a four-way test, we'll pursue our quest, if in our little way of the day. Peace in the world, we shall not have lived in vain. Peace be achieved, we shall not have
The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Object of Rotary is to encourage and foster the ideal of service as the basis of worthy enterprise, and in particular, to encourage and foster. First, the development of acquaintance as an opportunity for service. Second, high ethical standards in business and professions, the recognition of the worthiness of all useful occupations, and the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society. Third, the application of the ideal of service in each Rotarian's personal, business, and community life. Fourth, the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideal of service. Presenting the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente, Officers and Directors, Rotary Year 2021-2022. Attorney Bernardino T. Amago IV, President. Polly Jang, Vice President, President-elect. Jose Marie Ponce, Secretary, President nominee. Architect Manuel L. Torres Jr., Treasurer. Patrick L. Yaret, Auditor. Emmanuel P. Tesalona, TRF Chair. Stephen Henry Uy, Club Administration Officer. Maricel Borromeo Amores, Membership Director. Jason Go Kyang Ki Ong, Community Service Director. Marina Enriquez Kaufman, Vocational Service Director. Jose Alfonso C. Abad, International Service Director. Attorney Lolita L. Lomanta, Youth Service Director. Christopher A. Ligonas, Public Image Director and CICO. Dave John B. Karamihan, Protocol Officer. Engineer Jesalito V. Baring, Sergeant at Arms. Meet our advisors. Architect Joseph Michael P. Espina, Assistant Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator. Mary Ann Alcordo Solomon and Paulianao Zone Coordinator. Richard G. Barba, District Trainer, Rotary Year 2016-2017. Conrado M. Abarintos, Deputy District Governor for Operations, Rotary Year 2015-2017. Maria Consolacion Abad Pasion, President, Rotary Year 2013-2014. Maricel Borromeo Amores, Assistant Governor, Area 1B. Meet the distinguished men and women of the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente with their classification. Jose Alfonso C. Abad, Non-Life Insurance. Conrado M. Abarintos, Government Customs Finance. Eman Rayan C. Abay-Abay, Customs Brokerage. Attorney Bernardino T. Amago IV, Academe Legal Services. Attorney Ernesto Miguel B. Amores, Civil Service Commission Legal. Maricel Borromeo Amores, Human Resources Consultancy. Richard G. Barba, Printing Services. Engineer Jesalito V. Baring, Environment Consultancy. Emmanuel C. Kalalang, Multi-Purpose Cooperative Management. Attorney Cedric Jose Andre G. Deperine, Corporate Law and Litigation Services. Glenn Ford A. Alendrino, E-Commerce Management. Architect Joseph Michael P. Espina, Architecture Planning. Polly Jan, Coffee Shop Management. Dave John B. Karamihan, Manpower Outsourcing Services. Marina E. Kaufman, Hotel and Restaurant Services. Christopher A. Ligonas, IT Services. Attorney Lolita L. Lomanta, Prosecution Services. Jason Go Kyang Ki Ong, Manufacturing Operations Management. Maria Consolacion A. Pasion, Games and Amusement. Jose Marie Ponce, Memorial Plan Investment Services. Geraldine B. Ramos, Forwarding Services. Maria Dolores Rimas, Resort Management. Luz Filipinas S. San Pedro, Metal Engraving. Herminia Fernandez Spaller, Construction and Industrial Supplies Trading. Dr. Alan O. Sinerpida, Plastic Surgery. Mary Ann A. Solomon, Outdoor Advertising, Signage Design and Production. Hendrik S. Sulay, Retail Management. Emmanuel P. Tesalona, Precious Metal Trading. Alfie M. Torres, BPO Operations Management. Architect Manuel L. Torres Jr., Roof Manufacturing. Stephen Henry D. Pico Uy, Family Business Consulting. Patrick L. Yaren, Resto Bar Management.
So, hello. So, in our next part, to do the introductions, we'll have two Rotarians. One will introduce the Rotarians of Rotary Club of Cebu West, while one will introduce our distinguished guest speaker. So to do the introduction of our Rotarians will be the District Polio Coordinator, past Assistant Governor, and past President of Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente, Doc Elaine Senerpida.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Good evening again, everyone. Of course, it's a pleasure that RCCF has a guest, which is our mother club, Rotary Club of Cebu West. Of course, President Carlos said that dili lang kuno in order ang mga edad aron di kuno maklaro sa iya mga members. So anyway, before anything else, let me welcome Rotary Club of Cebu West President Carlos Suarez. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, and we have our Rotary Club of Cebu West President-elect Albert Nunez.
Good evening, fellow Rotarians.
Yeah, and also we have Rotary Club of Cebu West past President Ex Boliosos.
Good evening.
Next is Rotary Club of Cebu West past President Oscar Chua. Next is Rotary Club of Cebu West past President Nonito Narvasa. Next is Rotary Club of Cebu West past President Ruben Almendras. Rotary Club of Cebu West past President Maxwell Espina. Rotary Club of Cebu West past President Alvin Olalo. Rotary Club of Cebu West past Assistant Governor, past President Vic Vosotros. Rotary Club of Cebu West, past Assistant Governor and past President Lenton Beltran. Good evening, our mother club, for joining us in our meeting tonight. Next is I would like to introduce our former Rotary Club Cebu Fuente member, Asila Malasarte. Good evening. And then we have our Rotaractors, our Rotaract of Cebu Fuente USC chapter, our life-changing president, Louis Haminal. Good evening. Then we have our Rotaractor of Cebu Fuente of Combase, Scarlett Mapa. And our Rotaract of Cebu Fuente, Combase, Jacob Dolino. Good evening. And of course, a part of our speaker tonight of Cebu Leads, Elizar Sabinay Jr. Good evening, sir. Welcome in our meeting. So our speaker will be introduced by somebody else. So thank you, everyone, and good evening.
Hello, good evening. So to introduce our distinguished guest speaker would be President-elect Albert Nunez of Rotary Club of Cebu West.
Thank you, Club Admin Stephen Henry Uy. Good evening, everyone. Maayong gabi to the members of the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente and the Rotary Club of Cebu West. Tonight, it is my honor, and it is our honor and with great privilege to introduce our guest speaker. Our guest speaker is a member of the Durano clan of Danao City. He is a lawyer who obtained his law degree from the Ateneo de Manila University, ALS, and a pre-law bachelor's degree from the University of Redlands, California. He is likewise a degree holder of Masters in Business Administration, Reges, from the Ateneo Graduate School in Rockwell, Makati. Our speaker for tonight is popularly known as Ace. He once served the Congress as one of the youngest members and occupied a cabinet position during President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo's administration as the Secretary of Tourism. He is running as candidate for governor in the 4th in the coming elections, but what he is most proud of is being married to a Negrense wife, and a father to two wonderful children, one who just recently sired him a grandchild. Despite his heavy schedule, he was able to find time to be with us. Please help me welcome with a big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Attorney Joseph Felix H. Durano.
Thank you. Albert, thank you so much for reading the script. I don't know kung ikaw ba'y nag-research ato or my campaign team gave it to you to read. But anyway, thank you so much for reading that introduction. Again, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me to this joint meeting between Cebu Fuente and Cebu West Rotary Clubs. And it's nice to see some old friends here as well. I see Mian here. I also see Oscar and Architect Maxwell. Thank you for being here. I'll just go ahead and go straight to my message. Vice Governor Junjun and I believe that we all deserve a better Cebu, that we can make Cebu better. Like any place, there's no perfect place. There's only way of improving. And to our mind, we believe that we can start by giving every Cebuano a better provincial government. And when we mean a better provincial government, it has 5 pillars. First is a better provincial healthcare system. Second, better people-centered programs. Third, better economic opportunities. Fourth, better infrastructure projects. And finally, the 5th pillar, which I believe will facilitate the realization of all the other pillars, is better governance. And when I mean better governance, it stands on 2 principles. First, it's collaborative. That's why that one of the first things that Vice Gov and I have agreed to do if elected and we reach that point is really to create the several councils to make sure that key sectors will have a voice in policy making for the province. First such sector is the transport sector. So we plan to create the Provincial Transport Council. And the other one, the youth, is very important. So we also agreed to create the Provincial Youth Commission. And on top of this, we see that informal settlements is a growing issue here in the province. And there has been no strategic program from the capital anyway that addresses this. So the other office that we would want to create is the Human Settlement Office. So this issue will be taken up not only during election time, but every day during our term, so that permanent solutions can be created for this. So we believe that, and second is transparency. To partner with collaboration is transparency. So Vice Gov Junjun and I, we have also agreed that on our first 100 days, we will also execute a freedom of information policy for the provincial government. And again, this will facilitate better collaboration with transparent information as far as the budget of the capital and where it will be spent. So this is really the 5 pillars of our Better Cebu vision, our Better Cebu movement. And I could further elaborate on each one, but if there is no time, I can just entertain or take questions from the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ace Durano. Like your highlights of the 5 pillars of health, people, economic, infrastructure, and governance. So, do we have Rotarians here who have questions on our Honorable from to our Honorable? If you can unmute.
Stephen, if I may ask Attorney Ace, some of the participants tonight are members of the Rotaract Club. Can you maybe elaborate on your youth commission for the province?
Yes.
Thank you.
But during the time of Vice Governor Junjun, there was really a provincial youth commission where representatives from the youth sectors from the different parts of the province sat in this commission. And they were involved in creating programs specifically for the youth and other policies of the provincial government that affected their sector. But unfortunately, this was stopped by this administration. And in our months of going around the province and, of course, talking to various youth sector, uh, they expressed their sentiment about having that provincial youth commission back again. So that's the reason why it is part of our program to reinstitute the provincial youth commission to make sure that the various youth sectors in the province will have representation in this commission, and this commission will have a say, will have inputs as far as programs for the youth and for the general policy or general allocation of budgets of the capital.
Thank you so much, Attorney Ace. Then maybe you can consider tapping our Rotaract clubs for this purpose. Maybe they could be of assistance to you. PDG Man is raising her hand, so maybe she has a question. You recognize PDG Man.
Hello, Attorney A.
Hi, hi, Mian. Nice to see
Nice to
you.
see you again. Lola appear. Appear. So it's nice to be grandparents now. Since we talked about youth, I'd like to bring it now in focus to women. In Rotary, never has women been given importance. We now have the women empowerment. And I remember before, because I was a part of it, the Women's Commission in the province. Do you intend to bring back
Yes,
commission for women? And
that's right.
obviously, it also is important for us in Rotary to give importance to women. And I mind you, we have now the DEI, diversity, inclusion, and equality.
Right. Yes,
Diversity and inclusion. So
yes,
all things considered, I hope that women will be also given importance.
yes. Mian, thank you for raising that question and bringing that up, because indeed, one of our agreement also with Vice Gov Junjun is to create the Children and Women's Office, so that there will be specific programs also for this particular sector. And we all know that we have received information that during this pandemic, in abuses against children and women actually increased during this time of the pandemic. So yes, this is already agreed upon between Vice Gov Junjun and myself, that this is another office that we will be creating.
Thank you very much, Attorney Ace. Modesty aside, our club is proud that one of its members, a champion for youth protection and women empowerment, is fiscal prosecutor, Attorney Gingging Lomanta. So she is currently now on training. I think she's not here because of this concern on youth protection, anti-cyber sex and all. So I think she was the first one. Burns, correct me if I'm wrong. Her case was the first case that the parents were found guilty. Is that correct?
The first conviction in Cebu.
Oh yes, in Cebu.
Yeah.
So we have the champion in our club.
Right. Oh, rest assured, with one of the principles of better governance is collaboration. And we will really be collaborating with social civic organizations such as Rotary Club and even the chambers. Aside from the offices that we will be creating, this will just be, this is one thing that the leadership style of Vice Gov Junjun and myself is quite a match. This is really how we manage. This is how we lead. We really love to collaborate. And definitely rest assured, we will be collaborating with the social civic organizations such as the Rotary Club.
Thank you, Attorney Ace.
Thank you, Mian.
We still have two Rotarians who raised their hands who might be interested, have two questions. We have past District Governor Yumi Espina, followed by past President Maxwell Espina. PDG Yumi.
Yes, Secretary Ace.
Good evening.
Good evening. The pandemic has affected the tourism. Cebu
Yes.
is Cebu is very strong in tourism, and
Yes.
in fact, Governor Gwen has a solid program on tourism for the province of Cebu. Now, you were a former Secretary of Tourism.
Right.
Can you tell us what important projects did you do for the province of Cebu, and what are your plans for the province if in case you win as governor?
Right. Thank you. This is one subject matter that I'm quite comfortable talking about. First, my experience really in international tourism, it's quite sensitive to various issues. When I came in 2004, there was really a crisis in confidence as far as international markets were concerned to the Philippines. At that time, the issue was criminality. There were kidnappings, foreigners were kidnapped, and of course, they're always well publicized internationally. So the first thing we had to do was really address this crisis in confidence. And what we did during that time was we accepted that we cannot control the entire country, but we can improve the image of our destinations. So what we did during that time was we entered into a collaboration with the PNP. That was the very first time that tourist cops were created to create greater visibilities in our destination, police visibility in our destination. Second, we collaborated with the Navy. And that was when the Task Force Stingray was created, where their naval assets was just patrolling the central Philippine Sea, which is from Bicol all the way down to northern Mindanao, because it is that sea there where our beach destinations are, our popular beach destinations are, from Bicol to Palawan to the beaches in the Visayas and northern Mindanao. So when we had this collaboration, of course, we had to inform the international markets that this is what we were doing to gain back their confidence. And slowly it did. And for me, the first thing we have to do after this pandemic is to also gain the confidence back of the international market that we have the pandemic under control, that we have the capability to manage COVID, because COVID will be around. We might be going to level 1, we might even declare it endemic, but COVID will be with us. That's why the very first pillar I mentioned, the better provincial healthcare system, that is very important, because by doing that, we can present something to the international markets that we have the capability to handle future surges, future pandemic. And secondly, even if we are now in level 1, the provincial government must continue to educate and advocate for vaccination, especially for the province. Because in the province, vaccination rate is still quite low. And this is the only assurance that we get by protecting everyone through vaccination. We have the confidence as well to bring in international tourists back to the country and be confident that everybody is well protected. That's the first thing we need to do, is really gain the confidence of the international market as far as our health safety capability is concerned. Second, I believe that there are still more products, tourism products, that the province can develop. And this has been overlooked over the years. You know, the major program of the capital for tourism is Suroy Suroy. And to my mind, that's not what our situation needs at this point. If we want to further grow tourism here in Cebu, we need to develop more products. So my concentration will be product development. And this is what we were doing when we were in DOT. The moment tourists starts coming in, it's very important that we also complement this with new products. Product development must always continue. And product development must always be hand in hand with the private sector, because at the end of the day, tourism is a business. And second, with the communities, because this is where authentic tourism experiences can really be developed. So these are the two things that, if given the opportunity, I'll be focusing on. First is really gain the confidence of the international market as far as our provincial healthcare and safety capabilities. And second, really do more product development.
The next person who rose his hand was Rotarian Past President Maxwell Espina.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, Ace.
Hey,
I have
Art,
two
nice to
questions
see
for you.
Yeah.
My first question is, what are your plans about the environment, resiliency, and especially in the face of climate change and a greater frequency of typhoons like what we had with Odette? That's my first question. The second question, because I noticed that you did not mention anything about the environment. The second question is, what is your view of the many proposed projects for reclamation all over the province? I think you must already know that among the provinces in the Philippines, Cebu has the most proposed projects for reclamation. One very big one in Mactan Island or in Cordova, which is going to be about 1,500
hectares.
hectares. I'm sure you're aware of that. What are your views about that?
Right.
That's all. Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, the environmental resiliency and the other issues that you mentioned, this can fall under better infrastructure projects. And the first thing that we need to do is really to have an integrated physical area development plan. Right now, reclamation is just being proposed left and right. Quarrying is being done left and right because it's arbitrary at this point in time. There is really no plan where we can designate areas in the province that should be left pristine, should be preserved, and designate areas in the province that can be for large-scale development, such as reclamation. We just really have to, at the end of the day, Cebu is an economic powerhouse in the country. So we cannot stop development as well. We just have to plan our developments better. That's why we were saying better infrastructure projects. We need to stop being arbitrary about identifying and approving all these large scale projects. I think this can be facilitated by having this integrated physical area development plan. So everybody is in agreement where areas are classified as for preservation, for conservation, and areas can be designated as for large scale development like reclamation or economic processing zones. And again, I've been asking around. Ellie is here, who came from Leeds. I've asked him if there is one. There's none. Right. So that is the reason why the provincial government, as far as approving all these projects, is not guided. That's the reason why it's been arbitrary. And I believe this is an important. It's not sexy, it's not exciting, but it's something that needs to be done so that both the business sector and the provincial government can be guided accordingly, and everybody will be on the same page.
Thank you.
Maybe we can still take one or two questions if anyone has a question before. So,
Hi, Stephen.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
President-elect.
Hi, President-elect. President-elect Albert Nunez has a question, Attorney Ace.
Yes, please, Albert.
Yeah, Attorney Ace, good evening. No? And I just want to ask regarding the development of industrial park or industrial zones. I understand the now has been successful in doing that, and we have also big industrial park or industrial zones in Bactan. Do you have plans of let us say developing it in the south to spread the development in Cebu at the same time, shall we say, strengthen Cebu as a powerhouse or as an industrial city or as an
Right.
industrial province?
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you, Albert. Yeah, Cebu is really very popular, especially for Japanese locators. And our main constraint right now is that all of our export processing zones are full. So it's really a matter of expanding our export processing zone. I had talks with developers, and they've been telling me that there is really a line of companies waiting to locate to Cebu. And the challenge is, or the constraint right now is, there is no space left because all our export processing zones are full. So that's why it is very important that we really have this integrated physical area development plan, so that from the very beginning, we already know which areas are fit for such type of development. But offhand, there's already several that is, planned for that, like the reclamation in Minglanilia. I know that part of that plan is really for a industrial zone. But again, it is a matter of building because there is really a demand for them. But we just have to build right. We just need really to identify areas where we can build them, and really areas that needs to be preserved. It's the only way that we can strike a balance between environmental well-being, well-being of the population, and at the same time continuing the economic growth of Cebu.
Thank you, Attorney Ace.
Albert, thank you.
Attorney Ace, I think past President Maxwell Espina has a
Yeah.
follow-up question.
I have another question for you, Attorney.
Yes.
What do you see as the role of Cebu in the national scheme of things? I think you already know. We already know that the Visayas has been designated as the tourism
Right.
center of
Right.
the country. But I was thinking, what would be the more specific role of Cebu as one of the major urban areas in the national scheme of things?
Right.
How do you
But
see that?
yes, you know, when I was in DOT, Cebu was the strongest tourism brand of the country, and I don't think that has changed. So Cebu, I believe, continues to be the top tourism brand of the country. So, as the top tourism brand of the country, it has to take the lead as far as developing, practicing sustainable tourism. And again, one way of doing that is really to develop more products. That is the only way that we will lessen the tourism footprint per area, by really spreading tourism activity throughout the province. That was the strategy we took when I was in DOT, by spreading uh, tourism footprint throughout the entire country, by developing new provinces, by developing new areas like in Bohol, like in Sorsogon, even Samar, where caving is now, very popular. So one way is really to be the lead in developing and practicing sustainable tourism as the top tourism brand of the country. As far as an industrial area is concerned, really one of the constraints of Cebu is really land area. We cannot compete with Luzon as far as land area. That is the biggest constraint we have. Developers, the developers uh, have talked with about developing more industrial zones. The prices of land in Cebu is just so much expensive for industrial development compared to Luzon. And it's a matter of supply, because we just really have limited flat lands here in Cebu. So I believe that as far as manufacturing is concerned, Cebu has really to go up the value chain. We have to do more higher value manufacturing, whether it is intellectual or in goods, physical goods. Cebu really needs to go up the value chain, because as far as mass manufacturing is concerned, we just don't have the land area to host all the factories, unlike Luzon or even Negros. They just have the advantage of having more flat lands than Cebu. So for us, as far as a manufacturing hub is concerned, whether it is intellectual products, physical products, we really have to go up the value chain.
I agree with you regarding you know um, manufacturing as something that we cannot compete in. And actually, if we concentrate on tourism, manufacturing and tourism actually don't go together. The island of Mactan, for example, I think has been despoiled by the presence of the MEPZ there. You have tourist traffic, tourist buses and small vehicles together with industrial traffic, which is not a very good combination. I think we made a mistake in locating that as the maps there.
They're there.
Yeah. So I think at some point in time we need to make a decision as to whether what are we going to concentrate in. That's why I was talking about the role of Cebu. I don't think the role of Cebu is in manufacturing. I think you're right in saying that we should scale up and probably concentrate on other things to diversify, for example, in knowledge processing, those sorts of things, the things that do not
Right.
conflict with
Right.
the main role, which is tourism.
Tourism. That's
I
right.
wonder if I wonder if you agree with that.
Yeah.
And
I fully agree with that. Like
limit
aside from knowledge processing, the creative sector that can
yes,
also I feel is also not fully developed. These are things that Cebu and the Cebuanos are really fit for.
correct. Yeah. Thank you,
Thank you.
Attorney.
Thank you, Art.
You have my vote.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I think we have one more question, attorneys, from immediate past President Emmy Tesalona.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good evening, Attorney Ace.
Hey, Amy,
As we
good
all
evening.
know, business is down after the pandemic and Typhoon Odette. May I know your plans for the economy, specifically to the SMEs of Cebu and for the province of Cebu?
Mhm. First, I from our visitation with Vice Gov Junjun in all the towns, the one that we've seen that really needs the most help. So makabangon sila from the pandemic and then sa Odette are really the micro entrepreneurs, and they have to be part of the equation as well uh, when we look for creating better economic opportunities. Because I believe that as far as the bigger companies, uh, let's say those in the tourism sector, where the provincial government can come in is just gaining the confidence back of the international market. They have their markets back and they can bounce back as well, right? As far as the other industries are concerned, like related industries, like our hotels, our restaurants, the service industries, which is very important here for Cebu. The moment international tourism will pick up, they will also pick up. But for the rest of the economy, especially in the province, so that they will also be benefited by the pickup of international tourism, they would really need a lot of support, especially our farmers and our fisher folks. The most obvious when tourism stopped in Cebu was the closure of hotels, the of course employees laid off. But when you go also to the provinces, you can really see how deeply intertwined tourism is in our economy. Because when tourism stopped, it really also affected our farmers and our fisher folks. And they really need the support so that as international tourism picks up, they will also be able to, get back to their livelihoods, and also to make sure that they get benefited and they are plugged into the value chain, the tourism value chain. So part really of our program with Vice Gov Junjun, when we talk about better economic opportunities, is really to provide support, whether it's capital, technical, to our various cooperatives all over the province. Because we have seen that during the pandemic, it was these cooperatives that continue to provide economic activities in the countryside. And we were just saying, if they can just be supported, they can really employ more. They can really increase the value of their products, and it will also increase the value of tourism here in Cebu, because many of the things that in the past, let's say, were imported, can now be provided by the local economy, creating more jobs, creating more economic value. So really, part of our, aside from gaining the international tourism market back is to make sure that our enterprises in the countryside will be prepared as well to take advantage of the increase in tourism traffic.
Thank you, Attorney Ace.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think there's one more final question from PDG Yumi Espina.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question, Attorney Ace?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Anyway, the Mandanas Garcia ruling will soon be implemented, and the rollout will be this year for the next 3 years.
Right.
And I guess it has a very large impact on local governments, especially
Yes.
the province. I'd like to know what preparations do you think is needed at this point in time? Because I think it's the next administration after the elections who will be, implementing the Mandanas Garcia ruling.
Right.
So what needs to be prepared to be able to, implement it smoothly?
Right.
Thank you.
Well, the way I understand PGG Yumi is that with this Mandanas ruling, LGUs can be expecting higher IRAs, so bigger budgets. So with more reason that we know our priorities this early. Because regardless of how big that budget is, it will never be enough if there is no priority. Regardless of how many additional billions that will add to the budget of the capital, if you just spend for everything, it will still not be enough. So that's why at this point in time, it's really having your priorities. That's very important. And that's why this 5 pillars will provide us with this guidance as to what will be prioritized. Like, for example, better provincial healthcare system. One of that will really be the upgrading of our provincial and district hospitals. And that will take some amount. Second here will be the better people-centered programs, which is really supporting our MSMEs so that they will be able to take advantage as our economy improves. So all of this already has been set by Vice Governor Junjun and I that this will be our priorities. It's just now a matter of looking at the amount of budget of the capital and agreeing through collaboration on the amounts that will be allocated for each pillar. So my answer is to be ready is really to know our priorities at this point in time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Ace, for sharing the sustainable strategies for a better Cebu. Would you like to give some final words to the body present?
Well, first, I'd just like really to thank you for this opportunity to be here. It is really such an honor. And thank you for being open to our A Better Cebu advocacy, to our A Better Cebu movement, our Better Cebu vision. And definitely for us to realize all these 5 pillars, again, collaboration is really necessary. And I really look forward to the day when I will be able to sit down and collaborate with the Rotary clubs in order to implement and realize the 5 pillars of A Better Cebu. Thank you.
Thank you. And to do the presentation of the Certificate of Appreciation, we have the President of Rotary Club of Cebu West, Carlo Anton Suarez.
Thank you, Club Admin Stephen. Certificate of Appreciation is hereby presented to Ace Durano, former Secretary of Tourism of the Philippines, for his invaluable invaluable time and expertise as guest speaker at the joint meeting between Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente and Rotary Club of Cebu West, given this 7th day of March 2022 via Zoom. Signed, Attorney Bernardo Amago IV, President of Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente, and Carlo Anton Suarez, President of Rotary Club of Cebu West. Thank you, Attorney Ace.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Allow me to extend the thanks of the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente, Attorney Ace, for your time and indulgence.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good evening.
Before we leave, there's also a birthday of 2 Rotarians right now. We have the birthday of past President Maxwell Espina from the Rotary Club of Cebu West, and we also have in attendance the birthday celebrant Patrick Yared, Rotary Club of Cebu Fuentes Auditor. If you can wish them
happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Maxwell. Happy birthday, Patrick.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'll give you my address for Lala Move.
Thank you again. Happy birthday to our celebrants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Attorney Ace, thank you. Thank you.
And thank you. See you around.
See you.
Yeah.
Photo op siguro. We'll have photo.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Let's have photo.
Let's have
One
okay.
group photo.
Yes.
Picture?
Yes, let's take a
Group
picture.
photo.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Good evening. 1, 2, 3.
Smile. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Right.
Ace.
Hey, Oscar. Musta?
Thank you, ah. Sige.
Salamat. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
There being
So,
I'd like to turn over to the president, President Carlos Suarez.
thank you, Club Admin Stephen. There being no other matters to discuss, by the power vested upon me and by the Rotary Club of Cebu West, I hereby call this joint general membership meeting adjourned. Fellowship continues.
There being no other matters to discuss, by the power vested upon me by the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente, I hereby call this joint general membership meeting adjourned. Fellowship continues. Thank you everyone for your
Thank you, everyone.
attention.
Ang tao na to beko, bosotros na diha.
Oh, inuman na.
Oh, kantaan nas bek ay.
Makadabik.